What's up guys, welcome to the artclasses.com. This video is I'm going to show you how my approach to metal, or how I paint metal. I just got a quick question from the previous video of how I paint metal, and I think I made a video like a while back on how to paint metal, and I think it's pretty old on YouTube, so I'm just gonna update it. So I was working on this one while I got that message, so I thought I'll make a quick video painting something on this, and just to show you how I quickly painting a metal material. So let's get started. And just in case if you've never seen my video before, I use Photoshop CS5 and also sometimes use CS2 and a Wacom tablet, medium and large, and Intel. So you can any Wacom is fine. Bamboo is a little bit, I don't know how sensitivity response on that is, but Intel and up, it's fine. So when you are painting metal, if you're painting a metal on the character, you have to take some other material that you are going to put on the character into account. Say if you have a cloth, then you have to limit it, the value that you can have on the cloth. Say if you limit the value of cloth to be 3 value, and the value range on the brightness would be in a short range, and then metal will have a more range of value, which is it can have like really dark to really highlight. Depends on how light or how dark your metal is. Your metal can be like, you know, light, sort of lighter gray or dark gray, but it's gonna have the widest range in comparison to the other material that you going to have on your character. If you have fur can have a lot of range, but it doesn't have that hot spot metal of that metal have. But metal can have like a really hot spot, kind of like similar to the scale of creature. If your creature have like a hard shell or hard, sort of really hard, skinny, bony scale kind of thing, it could have like a plate like snake, or something that have like really shiny scale. So it's pretty similar to metal. But leather can have a shorter value range than metal also. So if you put cloth right next to metal, it's going to have shorter range of value. So I hope that makes sense. So let's get, I'm just going to, starting here, go to 50% gray, a little bit bluish. Just going to paint over that helmet. So I'm just going to use flat brush to get the shape going. And I use 100% opacity. And then I'm just going to make a selection. So I'm going to use texture brush to get the darker value in there. So just going to change my texture brush. And it doesn't matter if you use texture brush or not. You can kind of do the same thing. It's just a matter of the value you put in there. So I'm putting a 20% brightness and 6% brightness, and I'm using about 70% opacity. But sometimes I don't change the opacity these days because I get used to the pressure sensitivity on my brush, and I can control that pretty well. And if you have a Wacom, you might be able to do that, and it's get a more natural feel to it. Then I'm going to a lighter value, which is about 67 or 70% brightness, and trying to get the highlight. And now I'm going a little bit. So you're going to have a wider area of the mid-tone and a really small area for the highlight. So the mid-tone and the dark is going to be pretty much the majority of your metal in this one. And it depends on how light and shadow in your scene is. So that's going to have a lot to do with it. But just remember, yeah, sorry about the sirens. I don't know, it's summertime, so I guess people get heat stroke a lot. I hear this like 5 to 10 times a day. So now I'm trying to expand the lighter value around it, but not that big. So expanding to, so it's kind of still in the mid-tone, but save the really light value on the small spot. You don't need, you know, I see a lot of students doing like they put the hot spot or really light spot everywhere. I thought that would bring it out, but if you're gonna make metal look really like metal, then save the hot spot for like a really small area. Don't make it too big, or don't expand it too far. And the more important thing is have your mid-range kind of larger. Mid-range and shadow have a larger area, a really small spot for the metal, like what I'm making on the helmet right now. And Again, I'm using texture brush on this one just to kind of like to get the gritty feel, because this overall image that I was working on have a bunch of gritty feel to it. So, but you don't need to use texture brush. I'll show you the other way when I'm just using a regular default brush. So, because a lot of people have, keep asking me question that, okay, what kind of texture brush do I use? It's really, painting is not, you don't really need texture brush help your progress, and it makes your progress go faster, but it's not like it's essential. It's essential when you know what to do with texture brush, but when you don't, then you don't really need it. And if you can paint something on a normal basis, then you don't really need texture brush. So I paint the black. I got off the topic for a little bit, sorry. The black to give it a visor, and then I'm gonna add some lighter value on the bottom of it, because that is facing up and the lighting probably come from up top, and then I have a bounce light on the bottom. Then that the edge of the bottom of the visor will catch the light from the top, so you got that a little bit highlight on that bottom of the visor, and that's kind of give it the feel of the metal have some thickness. Now I'm going to add the bounce light, because this image has a bounce light in it, and just a little bit right there. I'm making the metal color a little lighter so you can see what my approach or how the metal is going to look, so it doesn't really match what I have in there at the moment, because it's pretty dark and it's a lot dirtier. Like Grady has a bunch of texture brush, but I want to show you like the cleaner how the metal is going. And as I was working on it, so I might as well like put it on here. And then I'm adding a bunch of holes on the white sword, and again the edge of the metal that's facing up is going to get the highlight, just a tiny little bit. And if you watch maybe my video for a while, you probably noticed that I don't zoom in that much. And the reason for that is like when you zoom in, you get tunnel vision, and most of the time if you have like a big image, sometimes it could confuse and get your value could be off in comparison to the whole image. So once I get the whole image together, then I would zoom in. So now I'm going to show you that way, and in this one I'm not going to use any texture brush. And make a selection again, making a torso. I'm going to pick the dark color to lay down the dark value. And what opacity, like high, low, it doesn't really matter. What matters is you have to look and see if the dark in there is correct or the light in there is correct. Just have to use your eyes and then change opacity according to what you see and what you put down in there. It's more important what you put down in there, and if compare the value to whatever you have. Once you finish the first metal piece, then it's going to be easier when you're making the second one, because you have something to compare to. And now I'm starting putting the lighter value and mid-tone, and the lighter area is going to be slightly bigger in this piece because it has bigger mass. So now I'm putting a highlight, and the highlight is still a small spot. And then if it was plate, then it has like a multiple plate laying down, and then on top edge of the plate it's going to catch the highlight also. So there, and then top edge of the plate, and then using dodge, about 30% to 50% dodge it up, dodge it a little bit to get the highlight to have it stronger. Then I'm just going to use flat brush and create some scratch. And I think I'm using dodge here, 50%. It's kind of scratch. So now it's make like fake texture. And see, you don't need texture brush. You can do anything with just flat or round. And flat brush is also a default brush that I make. You just, getting the default round hard edge, squeeze it together, you get a flat brush. Now I'm going in and adding the darker line in between that white line to create more depth. Yes, and if you notice, I just create a darker line on both sides of the part that has shadow. I didn't draw the line all the way through because on the light area, you probably don't need that dark shadow, because make the shadow stay in the shadow and the light stay in the light. And now I'm adding a little bit of rim light on the torso piece and cleaned up a little bit. And now I'm just gonna maybe I should do some comparison. I'm going to add some cloth. So cloth, if you notice, it has like maybe 3 value range in comparison to the metal. So I'm just gonna using flat here, 1, 2 value, no highlight, just a little more saturated red on the lighter part. Oops. And then see, just 3 value, or you can even use 2, it's fine. But I think in this image it has overall it has more value range, so I could add 3. And then if I want it really dark, I could add about 4 value. And more importantly, like cloth usually has harder edge, because the fold, usually when cloth has folding, it creating harder edge. So what you can do with cloth is playing with, you know, folding and edges is probably more valuable. So it's not, cloth is not smooth, and the form change a lot. And when the form change, it's usually folding and wrinkle, and those create harder edges. So those are for cloth. All right. So I hope this video is helpful some way. Excuse me. And the best way to practice the material is just go to Google and search for material study and go to image, and you're going to see a bunch of material ball that you can do some study in, and just look for the good one and maybe, you know, copy it or something and try to do as many as you can. And I think a lot of these are from like class or something like that. So, and if you take my mentorship class, you also go through this process of character design and material study and process, the whole 9 yards. So yeah, so on the top right corner, if you're interested, I have a longer tutorial. Like most of them are about more than 2 hours. Some of them is like under 2 hours, but I explain everything from beginning to the end, like, you know, figure, character design, and some speed painting and illustration tutorial. And if you are interested, I have a mentorship available. Just click on those and we can do it via Google Hangout, and they are one-on-one lessons. So and I will correct what you do, and I give you an assignment every week. So if you're interested, yeah, just click on that, fill out the form, or, you know, go download the premium tutorial. All right, well, happy 4th of July, and I hope you guys have fun tomorrow and be safe. Bye-bye.